So one of the things about this practice is that it is a beginner's practice. And as a beginner's practice, that means that we're not doing anything in here that would be considered like beyond the body's normal range of motion. Beginner's practice can make it sound like, we're used to things being like, well, this one is for beginners, so it's like you've never done it before, or you've done it maybe 5 times and you're a beginner, and then you move into intermediate, advanced, or whatever. This yoga practice, beginner practice, can be your entire life. For me, beginner practice will satisfy my needs for the rest of my life, and I know that for sure. It's already satisfied me for 20 years. I am still a beginner. I cannot come in here and do 26 postures, 2 breathing exercises at 100% and feel like, okay, I'm no longer being challenged. In fact, there is not one posture that I feel like, okay, I'm no longer being challenged. Some people do have a posture or 2 that they feel like isn't challenging them anymore, and if that's the case for you, hey, you know what? Take it and just love it, because it's not that common. So beginner practice is the 26 and 2 that we do in this room. Doing it with the beginner's mindset means that we come in with the, have you ever met someone who knows everything? They know everything, right? And you start talking and then they just are like telling you what they know they know everything. So there isn't any space for anything when you're with someone who knows everything. They can't be coached in anything. There's anything you have to say will have no value at all. They already know everything. So when we approach this practice from that place of, I already know everything, then it's like saying, there's no room for me to grow. There's no space for me to learn a single thing because I already know everything. And we do it not like trying to be a know-it-all, but it's because we come in and we do this practice every single time, 26 and 2, it's the same words, the same order, the same series, right? Every single time. But it isn't the same because you're not the same. You're not the same every single day. You're not the same. So the practice is not the same. And if you approach it like you're the same, and you have the expectation of yourself on your mat today that you had of yourself yesterday, or that, oh, this is the way that I do this pose, and I know that it just works for my body. We've had people who are like, well, I need to do it like this because I hurt my knee. Okay, cool. When did you hurt your knee? 1987. Oh my God. Let it go. But that's the mindset. Like, this is what I do with my body. We have to be open to that we're here to create change. And change does not happen when we're a freaking know-it-all. Because we already know it all. So coming in here and practicing from the mindset of I don't know it all, and also just to be in the moment that I'm in right here, like I don't know what's going to happen next. So even though we do know what the teacher is going to say next for the, as far as the instructions and the cues of the class, when we come from a space of I'm just going to let myself be instructed by the instructor and move when they ask me to move, then suddenly I can stop this. Because as a beginner, true beginner of this practice, meaning you just started out and you don't know what's coming next, well, that's easy because you literally don't know what the teacher's going to say and you're like, what the hell is going on in here? That was my experience in my first class, and I went home like, holy shit, I didn't even think about things for 90 minutes, right? But after a while, you know the words, you know the series, you know the thing, and you're just like kind of doing this, and you might even turn off that the teacher's even speaking, and you're just moving. Today, Suzanne said, follow along, we're just beginning the class. Follow along, word by word, stay with me. Let's begin the class with pranayama, deep breathing, and she had not said a single cue. And I just, around me, half of the people were like this. She had not said, interlock your fingers, bring your knuckles underneath your chin, okay? And hear everything. But it's that, really, Did she say anything? No, she didn't. So but that's like, I know what's coming already. So when we practice from, like, I'm literally not gonna move until I hear the cue, then I can be right here with the teacher. And I promise you guys, when you practice from that space of like, I'm gonna move when I hear the teacher tell me to move, and I'm gonna hold it until the teacher tells me not to hold it anymore, and then in between I'm gonna be perfectly still. This, you wanna talk about making your practice really, really challenging and effective and impactful, it's huge. It's huge. But when you come in, you're like, okay, another 26 and 2, and you're just like, okay, it's, you know, yeah. And before the teacher's spoken, you're like all set up in the pose, you know, and then the teacher's still talking and you come out of the pose and you're like doing your thing, then it's like you're not there. You're doing, it's like you're renting the room. You're renting a hot room to like play inside of your own mental playground. So, but that's not really why you're here, you know? So it takes intention, it takes focus. We do it all the time in our life, and this is a little microcosm of how we are in our life, that's for sure. So I would challenge you, your very next class, you set that intention that, all right, beginner's mind, beginner's practice, here I am, I'm on my mat, I don't know diddly squat, okay? And I'm just gonna wait until the teacher's telling me what to do. And then notice if you start doing things just out of rote and then call yourself back, like, oh wait, she didn't even say to do that yet. Super interesting, I'm going, you know? It's an interesting self-study. And when we do things that show us something about ourselves, then the next thing is not to go into this place of, oh, I'm so terrible, I suck, I can't, you know. No, it's like just, oh wow, that's super interesting. So that's something that I want to work on. I want to work on being, you know, right here in the moment, blah, blah, blah. So please don't take your yoga practice and make it a weapon that you beat yourself with, okay?